The House is resumed, and it's the third reading of the Dairy Industry Restructuring Raw Milk Pricing Methods Bill. John Boscawen has the call. He has about 4 minutes remaining, should he wish to take it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When the House adjourned at midnight last night, I was speaking on the Dairy Industry Restructuring Raw Milk Pricing Methods Bill, and so the debate prior to me rising had sort of broken into a general debate on the dairy industry. Brendan Burns, for example, spoke about the threat or so-called threat of Chinese investment in the industry, of the need for the Frontiera to get its capital structure correct, and also of animal welfare issues. So it was very much becoming a general debate on the dairy industry. And so this bill is about milk and the processing of milk and the making available of milk to alternative processors in a competitive basis. And I want to focus just on one aspect, Mr. Speaker, just one aspect of the greater issues of processing milk. And so we have, starting on the 1st of July, the emissions trading scheme, which will make a significant difference to farmers, Mr. Speaker, because Meat and Wool New Zealand have estimated that the cost of the emissions trading schemes on the average dairy herd will be about $10,000. $10,000, Mr. Speaker. And dairy farmers may be feeling a false sense of security because they've no doubt listened to the Prime Minister when the Prime Minister told them last November that agriculture wouldn't be coming in the gambit of the emissions trading scheme until 2015. Well, Mr. Speaker, I have a message to dairy farmers this morning, and that is that of that cost of $10,000, only $2,500 relates to animals. The average dairy farmer with the average herd is going to face some $7,500 of costs due to energy and due to the cost of the processing, the emissions cost. And so for Fonterra, the cost of the emissions trading scheme of actually processing milk is some $80 million. $80 million, sir, at $25 a tonne, $40 million at $12.50 a tonne. And I wonder, sir, how many dairy farmers realise that in less than 3 months, this country is imposing on them a $40 million tax for their emissions, to be followed up by a further $40 million in 2013. In addition, of course, to the electricity that they use in processing their milk in the milking sheds and petrol in dairy tankers. Sir, I've just come from a breakfast hosted for European parliamentarians, and they actually painted a very dismal picture of the future. Mr. Chauvel was there, and one of the points made was that Mr. Obama has just passed the healthcare bill in the United States. He's burned up a huge amount of political capital doing so, and the prospect of President Obama being able to push through any law, sir, that would give effect to his plans for climate change is very, very bleak. And so when the national government introduced its amendments to the emissions trading scheme, it expected to follow. Last September in this House, the climate change minister got up there and said, "We'll be a fast follower. We'll be following Australia. Don't worry, Parliament. Don't worry, New Zealand farmers. We're following Australia. We're following the United States." Well, sir, there's been a dramatic change in the world landscape in the last 6 months. And I ask, why is this government going to tax farmers? Why is this government going to tax farmers? We heard that Mr. Ahern, the chairman of the Primary Select Committee, was a great advocate for farmers. Well, I ask him where he is today. Is he standing up for farmers? I don't hear him speaking out about the $40 million tax that farmers are going to have to pay for their processing emissions. I don't hear him speaking out about the cost of electricity on the farm. I don't hear him speaking out about the impact of the emissions trading scheme and the massive windfall profits it's going to make. How interesting that the powerhouses of the dairy industry are in Waikato and in Canterbury and in Southland, all areas where the electricity comes from hydro sources, no tax to pay but massive windfall profits to generators. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.